Today's lesson is The Promise and Perils of AI Image Generation. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike.
I am Roger, and today we're going to continue to talk about creating images using AI. It's AI image generation, and we introduced this topic to you last time. We talked about how it uses different images from the internet. It kind of puts them all together and comes up with an image based on your description, like the sun rising over mountains. And, of course, the process is very sophisticated, and it looks at your description and combines all those visual elements. And then, of course, it also offers many opportunities for people to create images that you couldn't produce before, and it can be used in different fields as well.
Absolutely. It can think very well and compile, take different things from the internet and other resources and combine them in new and interesting, hopefully, and creative ways. But, of course, AI cannot actually create things on its own, so anything you see will have been sort of taken from another artist's work from the past. So that's something also to bear in mind. And it is definitely going to be useful to a lot of people. We learn how artists can save time and do sketches efficiently by just using AI. They don't have to sort of make a first attempt at an artistic creation. They can use AI to see if it would work before moving on to the real piece. And also for businesses, they can design ads or products. Students can illustrate their assignments, and writers can visualize their characters with ease, which would be kind of a nice little thing for a writer to do. You know, if you're creating a character, you could give the physical description, put that into an AI program and kind of see the character. But of course, we can use our imagination for these types of things. We use our imagination to visualize things. So let's have a look at some of these very interesting issues with AI image generation, starting with our first paragraph.
However, along with its benefits, AI image generation raises serious concerns that cannot be ignored. One major issue is copyrights. Because AI systems learn from existing artworks, many argue that they rely on artists' creations without permission or proper attribution. A clear example occurred in March 2025 with the viral Ghiblification trend, where people asked AI tools to reimagine everyday scenes in the style of Studio Ghibli films. While the results were charming, critics pointed out that the AI was reproducing distinctive artistic elements without crediting or compensating the original creators.
大家好，第一部分介绍名词 copyright 表示著作权或是版权。例如 The photograph is over 100 years old, so it no longer has a copyright. 这张照片已超过100年，因此不再拥有版权。或者 You must get permission if you want to use a song with copyright. 若你想使用有版权的歌曲，必须取得授权。接着看到形容词 distinctive， 意思是与众不同的或是独特的。例如 Van Gogh's paintings are known for their distinctive use of vivid colors. 梵谷的画作以其独特的鲜艳颜色而闻名。再看一个句子 John's voice has a distinctive quality that makes it easy to recognize. John 的嗓音具有独特的特质，很容易辨识。下一个看到动词 compensate， 意思是补偿、赔偿或是弥补。例如 The restaurant refused to compensate the waiters for their extra work. 餐厅拒绝给予服务生加班费。或者 Glenn has a lot of enthusiasm, which compensates for his lack of skill. Glenn 热情十足，可以弥补他技术上的不足。
All right, it's time to talk about the first paragraph here. It says, however, along with its benefits, AI image generation raises serious concerns that cannot be ignored. So yes, indeed, this happens also in other aspects of AI with image generation as we're talking about, but also creating articles and things like that. Are you cheating on your college dissertations or whatever by having AI write it for you? That is a concern. And so we're worried about those sorts of things. But with AI image generation, yeah, we do have some things to worry about, and we need to pay attention to them. We cannot ignore these concerns.
Absolutely. And it says one major issue is copyrights. Yes, definitely. Copyrights are sort of the legal process through which artists and companies also protect their property, protect their intellectual property. IPR, intellectual property rights, are protected by copyrights. I can't go out and start a shoe company called Adidas and put 3 stripes on on my running shoes and sell them under the name Adidas because Adidas has a copyright for their name, for the design of their shoes, for their company logo, for any words and things they might use in their advertising, like a slogan or something like that. So this is the right of the creator of that idea, image, word, logo, whatever it is, to protect it from other people using it, making money off it. It says because AI systems learn from existing artworks, many argue that they rely on artists' creations without permission or proper attribution. So this is kind of already going on. AI doesn't have a lawyer. AI is just looking at what is out there on the internet and taking different ideas, even if some of those ideas and images have already been copyrighted and cannot be used in other artworks. So this could definitely be a problem, and you'd have to have a team of lawyers or at least artists or programmers who are aware of these copyrights overseeing the AI to make sure that is copyright protected would actually slip through into the existing artwork, into the existing piece of art, whatever form that would be. And that's what we mean when we say an artwork. It could be a painting, it could be a sculpture, it could be an artistic installation or something, but it's something that's been created for artistic purposes. So many argue that they, the AIs, rely on artists' creations without permission. These AIs have been sort of vacuuming up huge areas of artistic output, whether it's songs or words or images or ideas or titles or anything like that, and they kind of just reproduce it in different combinations and different forms, and a lot of it is done without permission. I think there's a lot of artists who found that their books and their images and their songs have been used to sort of train AI at some of these big companies like OpenAI and Google and other places where they're creating these AI systems, and it's been done without permission. No one has paid these artists for the right to use their work, which is the normal process when you take something that has been copyrighted, and they're also not getting paid for it, along with not getting proper attribution, not getting proper credit. When you see, this was created by, or this artwork is by, or this song was written by, that is to attribute, that is sort of to give credit to the person who first made it, the creator, the composer, whoever that might be, the original artist. That is also not happening. So basically, artists who've built their whole life and career about creating original works of art are finding their work is kind of being copied or even possibly stolen by these AI systems.
Right, so we're talking about proper credit or proper attribution or recognition. And this kind of reminds me that this sort of exists in the real world, not the artificial world, but they're always talking about a song that sounds like somebody else's song. Did you steal their ideas or something like that? It seems like everybody sort of borrows ideas from everybody else. So, yeah, how can this apply to AI as well? Unless it's really obvious, if you make an image that looks too much like Van Gogh's style or something like that, maybe they could sue you or something like that. So that's something you could all discuss. But here, the next sentence, it says, a clear example occurred in March 2025 with the viral Ghiblification trend. That's a film studio in Japan, Ghibli, the Ghibli Studios. And we have this trend here. People asked AI tools to reimagine everyday scenes in the style of Studio Ghibli films. Okay, so yes, indeed, somebody did that. And of course, Studio Ghibli films have a kind of special look to them. Is Spirited Away a Ghibli film, I guess? That's their probably most famous one. And yes, indeed, they said, yeah, create some images that sort of look like what we see in Spirited Away. And they thought, hey, that looks too much like a movie. You're stealing our copyright. And maybe they filed a lawsuit or something like that.
Exactly right. But that definitely was a thing about a year ago. A lot of people were changing their Facebook and other social media photos to these AI-created versions of themselves in the Studio Ghibli style. It says, while the results were charming, many people thought this was cute, and within about 36 hours, half the people I know on Facebook had sort of posted a picture of themselves using this AI program to make themselves into Ghibli characters. So it was charming, it was cute. Critics pointed out that the AI was reproducing distinctive artistic elements without crediting or compensating the original creators. That's just a fancy way of saying the AI was stealing other people's ideas. It was reproducing something distinctive artistic elements. If something is distinct, it is very unique. It kind kind of stands out on its own. You can't mistake it or get it confused with other things. The style of buildings in downtown Paris is very distinct, that kind of Haussmann style. The uniforms of the guards in front of Buckingham Palace is very distinct, right? With their red coats and those big black fur hats. You don't see guards like that in Tokyo guarding the Emperor's Palace or in Russia standing in front of the Kremlin. It's very distinctive. It's very unique. It is very much of its own thing, and it doesn't look like anything else. So these distinctive Ghibli-style elements were there, and it was all done without crediting. That's kind of like without attribution, without saying this is done in the Studio Ghibli style. You know, not every picture had that little credit at the bottom. And they also didn't compensate the original creators. Credit would be nice, but money would be better, I guess, for people whose artistic styles and ideas are being stolen away from them. And that would be compensating. When you compensate someone, generally you're paying them back in money for some kind of damage or something that has happened. One of the parties, one of the sides feels that they've been wronged. So it feels like they've been taken advantage of or hurt or harmed in some way. So you pay them back. If you have an accident, you might compensate the person that you hit and help them get their car fixed and pay for those repairs. So that kind of thing did not happen in this case. Studio Ghibli received not a single dime, cent, euro, or Japanese yen for any of these pictures that people were sort of creating using their Studio Ghibli's own unique original style.
Let's move on now to the second part.
Job security is another pressing concern. Many professional illustrators fear losing work as companies turn to faster, cheaper AI alternatives. Equally troubling is the risk of fake images. AI can generate realistic photographic images of events that never happened, which could fuel false news reports or online scams. This ability is already making it harder to trust what we see online.
第二部分看到形容词 realistic 表示写实的、逼真的、现实的或是务实的。例如 The movie offers a highly realistic view of life in the city. 这部电影呈现了城市生活非常写实的面貌。或是 The bust of the general was carved to look very realistic and lifelike. 那位将军的半身像被雕刻的看起来非常写实及栩栩如生。接下来介绍 photographic 这个形容词，意思是摄影的或是照相的。例如 There is a photographic realism to Beth's drawings. Beth 的画作中带有照片的真实感。再看个例句 Luca has a photographic collection of wildlife taken during his travels. Luca 有一套旅行中拍摄的野生动物摄影作品集。
Okay, here in the second part of our lesson for today, it says job security is another pressing concern. Okay, if something's pressing, it's very urgent, it's something that you need to think about right away. Yeah, we're all worried about job security. Is AI going to take over all our jobs and we're all going to be homeless living on the streets? And here in the next sentence, it says, many professional illustrators fear losing work as companies turn to faster, cheaper AI alternatives. An illustrator, of course, is someone who produces images to illustrate stories or whatever. And indeed, these are people who work in the traditional mediums of colored pencils and paints and things like that. And in this particular case, they're afraid that they might lose their jobs because, hey, these companies can produce images just by using a computer program. We don't need to pay these people to draw pictures for us. We've got lots of choices with AI, so that is a pressing concern regarding job security.
Absolutely, and it's not just artists, of course, but you can use AI to create websites for your business or your personal use. You can use AI to organize holidays and create menus and all sorts of things. So there are many jobs that might find themselves under some pressure from AI. Equally troubling is the risk of fake images. So we're not just talking about like a fake Van Gogh or a fake Picasso. We're talking about fake real people. AI can generate realistic photographic images of events that never happened, which could fuel false news reports or online scams. So AI can be used to create realistic, something realistic looks very much like the real thing. It looks very accurate to real life. There are certain painters, and you look at their paintings, you find out that's not a photograph. It looks so realistic. The way the light kind of shines on the water and the ripples in the water water or something. Wow, it really looks like a photograph. It's so realistic. Computer graphics are moving to become more and more realistic. 30 years ago, all the characters in computer games were sort of blocky characters who moved in a very unnatural way, but now they look almost like people on film. They look very realistic or true to life. And photographic images, I guess you could also say sort of moving images, but when we say photographic, we think of still images, the type of thing you take with a camera. So not a film, not a video or anything like that, but basically pictures. So we could have pictures of politicians in certain situations that would be embarrassing or that would upset people. And of course, the politicians say, wait, I didn't do that. I didn't make that rude gesture at that old lady or something like that. But it looks so real that many people might believe it. And this could fuel or sort of give energy to these false news reports, can create false news reports, or even online scams. Yeah, I guess scammers could use it to take a picture of someone you know in a dangerous situation saying, send me money, I just crashed my car and this man wants to beat me up. You know, and it's a picture of your sister or your grandmother or your brother or whatever in a dangerous situation. And you can scam, you can trick, you can con people out of money using these pictures that look very, very true to life.
Yeah, here they're also using the sound of people's voices to say you're being kidnapped or something like that.
Yeah.
That's a kind of scam.
Imagine if that was accompanied by a picture of that person, too.
Indeed, you can do it many different ways.
Yeah.
And this ability is already making it harder to trust what we see online. And yes, nowadays I think we can tell what is real and what isn't, but in the future it's going to be more and more difficult to be able to tell the difference. Even the computers won't be able to tell the difference themselves. Okay, let's move on now to the third and final part of our lesson, and then we'll talk about it.
AI image generation is undeniably a powerful tool with exciting potential. Yet to make the most of it, society must use it wisely. Only by finding the right balance between innovation and ethics can we ensure fairness and prosperity in our digital future.
第三部分来看名词 innovation， 它的意思是创新、革新，也可以是新事物的意思。例如 Continuous innovation is key to staying ahead in the technology industry. 持续的创新是在科技业领先的关键。再看一个例子 Hedy Lamarr was responsible for the innovation of Bluetooth technology. 海蒂拉玛促使了创新蓝牙的科技。最后看到单字 prosperity， 这个名词意思是成功或是繁荣昌盛。例如 The family enjoyed great prosperity after starting their own business. 这家人在开始创业后享有极富裕的生活。最后一个例句 The island enjoyed decades of prosperity thanks to their successful tourism industry. 这个岛因为观光事业成功而享有数十年的繁荣昌盛。
All right, we are back. It says AI image generation is undeniably a powerful tool with exciting potential. Yes, no one will argue that AI and the ability that it has to do so many things for us so quickly and easily is undeniably a powerful tool. Something that is undeniable, you can't deny. You can't reject the truth of this statement. So if I say it is undeniably powerful, no one in their right mind who's arguing from a point of logic would deny that, would argue against that, would say, no, that's not true because it is so obviously a powerful tool. Yet to make the most of it, society must use it wisely. So to get the best benefits from it or to make the most of it, to get the most good out of it, we must use it wisely. We must use it very carefully and very judiciously.
And only by finding the right balance between innovation and ethics can we ensure fairness and prosperity in our digital future. So this final sentence here has the pattern, only by doing something can something else happen. Okay, so the only way for something to happen is that something else happens at the beginning. So yes, if we find that right balance between innovation and ethics, then we can make sure that things are fair and everybody can experience prosperity in their digital future, and I certainly hope that's what's going to happen for everybody. Innovation just means being very creative, coming up with new ideas that people haven't come up with before. Prosperity just means everybody's rich, everybody gets money, and nobody is really suffering, and that's what we hope for everybody. Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. Here comes Hanny.
各位 位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文第一部分提到，由于 AI 系统是透过既有艺术品来学习，许多人认为它仰赖艺术家的创作，却未经允许或标注出处。文中是用名词 attribution 来表达出处说明，它也有归因归属的意思。那它是来自动词 attribute。 我们来学习它的字首字根。好， tribute tribute 这个字当单字，它有贡品、贡献、致敬、敬意的意思。那它作为字根，则有给予、分配的语义。在 attribute 这个字当中， at 是来自 ad 表示朝向， tribute 表示给予分配。当我们朝着某人或某事物将功劳或者是过错分给他，也许就可以联想到 attribute 当动词可以表达归因于什么什么，或者是归咎于什么什么。那它也可以表达将某种特质归属于某人事物。另外，如果把这个单字当名词，是念作 attribute， 这时候它有属性、特性、特质的意思。顺便补充两个有相同字根的单字。第一个 contribute，它的字首 con 表示一起， tribute 表示贡献给予。那一起贡献给予，应该可以联想到 contribute， 它有捐献、做出贡献、为点点点贡献的意思。第二个补充的是 retribution， 它的字首 re 表示往回， tribut 是来自 tribute， 表示分配给予。ion 是名词字尾，我们就可以用予以回报，给予相对应的回报惩处去联想 retribution， 它有报应、严惩的意思。那读到课文第三部分最后一句， Only by finding the right balance between innovation and ethics can we ensure 点点点点点，唯有在创新与伦理之间取得适当平衡，我们才能确保什么什么。那这边是要介绍 only 移到句首的用法。 only 当副词可以表达只有在点点点的时间、地点或是情况。那么当 only 摆在句首时，后面可以接介系词片语，就像课文里面是接 by finding the right balance 点点点。或者是呢，也可以在 only 的后面接副词子句，像 only when, only if, only after 加主词加动词来做强调。那这时候呢，主要子句的主词跟 be 动词，或者是主词跟助动词必须倒装。举例来说， This extreme step should be taken only when it's necessary。 我们现在把 only when it's necessary 移到句首，然后呢，主要子句要倒装，也就是把助动词 should 移到主词 this extreme step 的前方，句子就会变成 Only when it's necessary should this extreme step be taken。 只有必要的时候才能采取这种极端的做法。好，那最后补充一下哦，如果主要子句里面没有助动词，我们就要根据主词的单复数还有时态，自己生出一个适当的助动词。好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天单字吧。
Copyright. The band's singer and guitar player hold the copyrights to all the songs they wrote together. Distinctive. This building's distinctive shape has made it a local landmark in town. Compensate. A new law requires that workers be fairly compensated for any extra hours they work. Realistic. Jessica's painting is very realistic, with every detail carefully shown to make it look almost like a photograph. Photographic. As they investigated the murder, the police gathered photographic images of the crime scene. Innovation. Their remarkable success in business comes from constant innovation and hard work. Prosperity. With the war finally over, the country enjoyed years of peace and prosperity.
Discussion Starter starts now!
It's time now for our discussion starter, and here's the question. Do you think that AI image generation will produce more benefits than harms? Why or why not?
Gosh, this is a hard question to answer because I feel we're so early in the days of AI, but all right, I'll pick one of these. I'll say yes, I think AI image generation will be beneficial overall, since with more people having the ability to create art, art can move minds and hearts and souls and change minds and hearts and souls. So hopefully, with all these new artists unleashed on the world, we will have a greater understanding between humanity.
Well, no, I don't think this will be a good thing because it seems to me AI image generation or other aspects of AI are going to take over the world. Everybody's going to lose their job, and only a handful of people are going to benefit from AI, and the rest of us will suffer.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, so please make sure you join us again next time. For all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger.
See you next time.